All right, Orange Group. We are on sort 38 this week, and it is called Consonant Digraph plus R blends. Now, that is a lot of words, and because we haven't been doing words their way our whole career in elementary school, some of these words you may be unfamiliar with, so let's go ahead and revisit. Consonant, you know what that is. It is any letter that is not a vowel, which is A-E-I-O-U. And a digraph, this may be a new word. A digraph is just when there are two letters that work together to make one sound. So, for example, th and sh are digraphs. They aren't a letter, but they make their own sound as if they were just one letter. And then we are going to add some R's to make blends and work on that with our spelling. So, some examples of the and sh. We have words like though and thank. And we have words like sheep and shed. And we're going to be instead changing to words like through and three and shrimp and shred. So those are kind of some comparisons. You're probably pretty familiar with these sounds, and we're going to be adding in these blends. So the trick is to recognize that when we have a THR and SHR, they're not all one sound. So it's careful when we say these words, we want to hear the two sounds. Now there are three letters, but remember these letters make a digraph, which is one sound. So we are going to hear two sounds when we say these. And sh, and So in sh, imp. E. We're going to hear that sound versus thank and sheep when there's not that. Now, the other sound we're working with this week is SQU. Let me just erase this really fast, fifth graders. One moment. You can see that I just added in one more sound there, which is SQU. Now this is not actually going to, SQ is not a digraph like TH and SH. So SQU makes a S, K, and a W sound. So even though those aren't the letters, those are the sounds we're hearing. Sk, w. Sk, w. Like in square, for example, you hear sk, w, air. Oh, sorry, I was not even pointing. Sk, w, air. So we hear each of those sounds there. And so when we hear that kind of blend, it's going to be spelled SQU, even though it sounds like it's spelled SKW. When you hear that blend, squa, you're going to know SQU. All right, so the one trick is with some of our SQ words, we're going to see things like squirt, squirt. Now, if we're listening just for our sounds, we hear sk, w, t. We're kind of missing that vowel sound there. And so we have to be careful that SQUR almost sounds like it's its own new blend. But there are going to be a vowel, so you need to listen carefully for that. All right, let's go ahead and begin sorting our words. Remember, students, that you need to pause the video and copy down the correct sort in the end so that you have it throughout the week. So here's our heading: sk, w, sh, and okay. Of course, when we say it all together like square, it just sounds like square. And shred, hear those sounds, but it's a blend. So that's what we're really listening for this week as we spell. And 3, as we're listening for those blends, it's going to help us to spell these words and other words that are similar throughout our lives. Okay, so we have squash. I really want you to listen to the sounds and try and predict where Miss Sel's going to put them. Shrink, shrink. We have squeak, threat. You hear those sounds? Through, shrimp, throw. This one slipped out. Squeeze. We have squirt, and there's one of our words right there. You don't hear that I very well because the consonants make such distinct sounds, but it's squir. Kind of listen for that. Shrub, shrink, thrill, squint, squish, squirm, and again that's another one. It kind of sounds like instead of we don't hear that I very well, but it is there and we need to be careful. When we hear that what sounds like an SQR blend, there's probably a vowel there. And we have thrown, shrunk, shriek, thrown, squawk, and through. Now, one last thing before we go, I just want you to be aware of a couple things with some of these words that we have. So, they have very similar meanings, some of them, and they're related in kind of their meanings, and it's important to recognize that. So, we have, let's start over here, actually. These through and through are tricky because they sound the same, but they are spelled very different and they have different meanings. This is like I threw something. This is I'm going through it. And then we also have throw and throw. So I throw something in present. It was thrown in the past, and I threw it also is in the past. So just something to be aware of when you're noticing these words, that they have similar meanings and they're related. We also have shrink and shrunk. It shrank, they shrunk, and shrink. So I hope my shirt does not shrink. Oh no, it shrank. Or is it shrunk? Anyways, these are the 3 that are kind of similar. And just be aware of how you're using them and make sure when you use them you're thinking, what word am I looking for? And then just these kind of are really similar words. Oops, these 2. Squash and squeeze. A little, not in spelling, but they have a kind of a little bit similar meaning. But look at these ones. We have, let's put these back. We have squirt and squirm. We have squish and squeeze and squash. So just notice that a lot of times when we have those same beginning sounds, there are words that are going to be related in meaning also. Maybe a different tense or a different, with a different, like plural versus singular kind of meanings. All right, Orange Group, that is it for Sort 30.